Hey, 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 it's Fred Albert, and I'm gonna sing a song for you. And Bill's gonna show you a thing or two. You'll have some fun now with me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing. Na, 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 gonna have a good time. Hey, hey, hey.
This is Bill Cosby coming at you with music and fun. And if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Mr. Cosby.
Yes,
So you've been around for a while, I think.
74 years.
74 years? Wow. You know, I actually grew up with you. At dinner time, our family would listen to your LPs while we were eating.
If you're eating, you can't have food in your mouth and laugh. Something's got to give. I tried that one time about 50 years ago, and I was at a friend's house, and his wife made spaghetti, and it was a nice sauce and everything, and we put on, in his apartment, a Jonathan Winters LP.
One of the geniuses of comedy.
And Jonathan is talking, and I had a mouthful of spaghetti. You can't laugh and keep food in your mouth.
Well, it's easier with fried chicken, which is what we were generally eating.
Oh, okay.
Man, I loved the chicken heart that ate New York City. Is that a true story?
It is. Everything is true unless I say, and I used to say it in my monologues, so I was thinking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if it gets to so I was thinking, then it's an idea. For instance, the Lone Ranger and Tonto. Okay, the Lone Ranger and Tonto I wrote when I was still in college at Temple University. And as a kid, I listened to the radio program. And one of the most consistent things about the Lone Ranger and Tonto was they would be camped outside of town. And the Lone Ranger would say to Tonto, Tonto, I want you to go to town, and so forth and so on. And obviously, in all of these stories, the writers, I think they forgot how many times Tonto went to town, and the same thing happened to him. He got beat up. So I was thinking, and then I did the dialogue where Tonto said, he's not going to town anymore. I don't know if you had To Rustle My Brother.
Yes.
Now, that's one where you better not have food in your mouth. And the reason why you're laughing when you listen to this is because you're looking at your siblings and you're identifying. The chicken heart is true.
Yes.
These radio programs, before there was anything that had a picture tube in the house, those things happen to be very, very real, unless you went to the movie house. Mm-hmm. But you guys are more sophisticated in your day coming up because you guys have the theater, you've got TV, but I didn't have those things.
And, you know, I actually have a question. I also grew up with the Cosby Kids and Fat Albert, and I was a family Saturday morning, and, you know, used to host the show. Does that world exist anymore? Does the world that that Fat Albert lived in, is that still around?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, as long as you have youth, you're going to have people hanging out together.
Mm-hmm.
And even though everybody has a different way of dressing and the music is different, the movies are different, things. You have profanity, you have scantily clad men and women, songs are bolder, etc., etc. You still have the behavior of the boys, like my boys, and they don't have to be bad guys hanging out, just sort of Patty Chayefsky. I don't know, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to do something? What do you want to do? So to put together these fellows and have them meld into a group of guys doing good things but sort of falling into it mainly because they care. So it may seem like a Jesuit kind of idea, but yes, the answer is yes.
Would you ever update that? Would you ever have a Fat Albert that had an iPad or an iPhone or instantaneous communication with everybody that he knows, so that there's, some of the situations that they got in, they were alone. And, that's kind of changed for young people today. Like, they're never alone. Would you ever update or redo Fat Albert and the Kids?
It's a good idea. I think if we got the funding for it, because animation, man, is very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found through people talking to me that they're playing it for their children these days, and that the kids see something in it, that the kids are interested in that time. Yeah, see, nobody has a cell phone. I mean, nobody really uses the phone.
Yeah, no one ever does.
And that was because they were broke.
Well, even broke people have phones now with 250 minutes because those come free.
Something?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? One of my readers asked me to ask you, what is the biggest change from the world that you grew up in to now? Like, what is so different now, or is nothing different?
You say I can't say the biggest. I will say the cell phone, and then get into computer and smartphone and things, and what a kid could do to try to foil the evil eyes of the parents and their parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have your smartphone, and you can sit with a girl you like, and you could talk to her without saying a word, and the parents could sit there and not know what you just said to her.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That works in committee meetings, too.
Well, sure. And wasting the boss's money.
Oh, and totally being able to avoid the preacher.
Let's not get any further. We don't want to expose you. I think that that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, huge changes. Huge changes. Is there anything that you wish we hadn't done since, the 1960s, 1970s? Any changes you think we've gone too far?
Yeah, I wish we hadn't lost the feel for the value of self. I wish we hadn't, in turn, when we lose the value of self, we lose the value of the children, and losing the value of the child we want to make, we want to have, losing that value and not parenting properly, not protecting the child. This world, I'll stay with the United States of America, needs, within the confines of our United States of America, we need to think about peace.
Mm.
I think that parents need to realize that the handgun or other weapons are very easy to get and be placed in the hands of people, and that we need to really get together with our minds and think of peace more and think more of tolerance. Tolerance not in terms necessarily of putting up with somebody or something, but within your own mind. I was riding in the car, and the car going in the opposite direction was blocked from making a turn by our car. And the guy just burr, 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 and
Right.
my driver, with the window up, started yelling in anger, and I grabbed him and I said, "Stop." He said, "But the guy," I said, "Do me a favor, stop. Let's think about what good this is going to do. You're going to yell at him, and he's going to yell back, and he's going to do whatever he can because he's very, very angry. But you've also gotten to the point where you're already at a peak. I mean, you just broke out and started yelling at the guy. Now, look, let's just stop a second. And you need to just keep looking ahead because you're waiting for this car. You start yelling at this guy. You don't know if he has a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
People have pistols all over the place now.
My grandmother had them all over the house.
It doesn't take, but probably your grandparents had a temperament. And they probably had media that was not telling them to get angry regardless of.
Absolutely. And Mr. Cosby, you spoke out about the Trayvon Martin case. And I don't know if you know, but Jacksonville, our prosecutor, is the one that locked that bastard up, Mr. Zimmerman. And I wonder, would you have any words to Mrs. Corey for actually doing the right thing and prosecuting the shooter?
Here's what's important. Let's leave the media in a position where they just do fact, as opposed to a source said, without checking, without the source coming in with integrity. So that as a viewer far away, you hear this was said, that was said. Now the lawyer from one side releases information, the lawyer the other side comes back and counters with, and meanwhile there's a dead boy.
Yes.
And there's turmoil in question about whether there's the correct procedure that was followed.
Yes.
So, in this United States of America, can we still say, oh man, we have to be careful about integrity and honesty? And I think that says an awful lot about this world, because even if people are the same color, speaking the same language, they can all get involved in lying about what they're doing and cheating, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at this prosecutor who has promised us a fairness, and is collecting information. If we look at the defense, which is going to do its job of honesty and fairness, and then we put a jury there without media, because that Casey Anderson case was a horror.
Mm-hmm.
It was an absolute horror that the media ran wild in making that woman guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the verdict came out, I was able to, as a viewer, assume, listening to media people on television, that they were absolutely angry and horrified at the verdict.
Yes.
And decided, well, this woman should have a miserable life from now on. But she had gone through the system. And I don't, to this day, see any reason why anyone would give her special preference.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Not with all that pressure.
She was not a celebrity. She wasn't so gorgeous that they could put her on magazines and things, and people would sort of hope that she would get off because she's gorgeous. So I think that media needs to behave itself in a case like this. Don't forget, we have Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that sort of disappeared.
But don't you think she deserves some kudos for stepping in so quickly from Jacksonville and issuing the arrest warrant?
Not yet.
No?
I think that we have to see how the case goes, how it's presented.
Well, that's eminently fair. And I actually have another question. This is from Rich Jones, who is the news director of WOKV, which is one of our local talk and news stations. And he wants to know, what do you think of Tim Tebow? Because he actually made the same list with you with the of influential people. And Tim Tebow is, of course, one of the sons of Jacksonville.
I loved what was happening in Denver because so many people were talking about how he was not a good quarterback and that the guy ahead of him on the Denver team was far better. I mean, I heard these experts, and then I would hear an interview with Mr. Tebow, and he sounded like a guy who is the kind of guy that's if you hire someone, this is what you ask for. That the guy talks about putting time in, talks about getting better, talks about doing his best, and keeps a good level head about himself. That's about all you can ask for from someone with the credentials that he brought from college.
Yeah.
And then once, I mean, the crowd seemed to want this kid, and once they got him, magic started to happen in a hilarious way. That they would be losing, and okay, turn that off, move to something else, turn back. No, they won. And he did it. Jack Armstrong. There used to be a guy on the radio named Jack Armstrong. Your grandfather would be able to tell you about him. Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy. So when you listen to him, now, I want to get something straight. God, the United States of America, God is in our songs. People are not allowed to worship because politically, so forth and so on. But the mantra was supposed to be that people came here for religious freedom, to worship any way they wanted to. It's about God. I mean, we gave the Bible to Native Americans. We gave the Bible to Africans. So this white American scores a touchdown, and he kneels to thank his Maker for blessing him with the help and health and the courage and the thing. And all of a sudden, the money-making people on the TV screen and in the newspapers find fault with that. I feel that they were much happier with the clowns who decided to design some kind of dance and twirl in the face of the fellows they just scored on. Strange behaviors.
Yes, I totally agree.
But I like Mr. Tebow, and I hope he enjoys his life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cosby. And we have your show.
Well, you are having trouble with speech class.
Well, and usually you can't shut me up, so I guess it's I'm talking to a legend and I'm a little intimidated.
Say Bill, isn't it?
Yes.
No, but I like hearing you say Mr. Cosby, because the Mr. part is very important since you're only 12 years old.
Yeah, well, that's only how I act. I'm I'm old enough to remember you on LP, so I'm a little bit older than 12.
Anybody can remember that. You probably heard the LPs and didn't pay for them.
No, I was 12 when I heard them.
You see?
Well, thank you, and thank you so much, and we'll see you when you come here to perform in Jacksonville. And again, Mr. Cosby, thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for saying Cosby. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mr. Cosby.
Bye-bye.
This is Bill Cosby coming at you with music and fun. And if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Hey, hey, hey.